Welcome to the Abundant Accountant Podcast. This is where accounting professionals just like you come to learn the most efficient and powerful ways to grow their firm, sharpen their sales skills, and have consistent increasing revenue. We cover topics from sales, networking, handling objections, negotiation, pricing, finding those ideal clients, and how to get rid of the ones that just don't suit you and how to set those boundaries so you can stop giving away your time, working for free, putting yourself on sale, and really start to get paid for the value and the worth that you bring to your clients. You'll learn tips, strategies, as well as hear others from personal interviews from successful accounting professionals. This podcast will show you exactly how to create the firm and life of your dreams full of abundance. Welcome to the Abundant Accountant Podcast. Today, we have a very special guest. Our special guest is a former accountant turned two-time entrepreneur who built, scaled, and sold 2 businesses. While helping other business owners, he realized his passion was teaching and providing tools to business owners to make them make more money and have more peace of mind. He currently runs the CFO Project, which is a training company that trains financial professionals on how to offer outsourced CFO and business advisory services. But before we welcome our special guest to the show, if you're an accounting, tax, or bookkeeping firm owner and want to double your revenue, but you're still trying things like getting more clients, sending out quotes or proposals, and never hearing back from your clients, you continue to negotiate or discount your fees, or you just even price your services based on what your competitors are charging, and then dreading tax season every year, it doesn't work, and it's just going to leave you burnt out with an empty bank account and just not enough money to get by. The simple fact is our clients use a proven process to not only raise their fees and double their firm revenue and get paid first and up front and have 0 accounts receivable going forward, but they do this all while working fewer hours and only with the right clients that they want to work with. If you want me to show you exactly how to do this, go to theabundantcall.com right now and book a call with me and my team. Once again, that's theabundantcall.com. And now let's welcome our special guest, Adam, to the show. Welcome, Adam, to the show.
Hey, I'm really excited to be here.
Yeah, thank you so much for being here. And I know this is your first time being here on the Abundant Accountant Podcast, so it's so wonderful to have you here. I've already done your intro, Adam, but just so other people know, and so you can just share it directly from the source's mouth, if you could share who you are and what you do in like about 30 seconds, and then we'll dive in.
Yeah, sounds good. So my name is Adam Lane. I'm the CEO and co-founder of the CFO Project. And essentially, we're a training company that trains accountants and bookkeepers and CPAs and enrolled agents to offer an outsourced CFO or business advisory service so they can escape what we call the accountant's trap, where accountants are not getting paid for their value. Instead, they're working long hours for high demanding clients for little pay. And so we suggest, hey, why don't you offer an outsourced CFO or advisory service and offer your value and get paid handsomely for that.
Yep.
So that's what we do.
It. Yeah. And when Anne-Marie reached out to me, or I don't know, or I can't remember who introduced us, maybe it was even Gaynor. I was like, oh, this sounds exactly up my alley. I'm always looking for those experts in the field to help the firm owners escape the trap. I don't want to go through another tax season. I can't keep missing my family. I've missed my children's, younger lives because I'm stuck at the office. I'm overwhelmed. I'm buried in work. I'm completely underpaid and underappreciated by my clients. And I think, Adam, what you do in teaching and, being able to share with firm owners how they can do outsourced CFO services, how they can add the business advisory and really be able to get rid of that low value work is key, because it goes hand in hand with what I do, which is teach them how to sell these services to get paid a lot of money with confidence and how to have that kind of enrollment conversation, because it's very different than selling compliance work and transactional services.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
very happy to have you here. So for those firm owners that want to get out of compliance, Adam, because I hear it all the time with all my clients, with other guests that I have on the show, with firm owners that I meet at just different conferences. It's like, well, Michelle, that's my bread and butter. I can't get rid of that right now. I have to make ends meet. I have to take on all the clients that I can get. What would you say, or how do you transition someone? Like, what would be that first thing a firm owner really needs to do to say, hey, I want to get out of compliance and I want to escape the accountant's trap? What do I do? What's that
Yeah.
first thing that you advise when a firm owner comes to you at the CFO project?
Yeah, we get that all the time as well. Accountants or bookkeepers say, "Well, but this is what I've been doing. This is who I am. How do I transition out of that?" The first thing I would suggest is to honestly ask yourself, do you really want to hold on to tax or bookkeeping compliance work, or do you want to hold on to some sort of steady income? Because I think a lot of people don't really necessarily care about doing compliance work as much as they like what they're comfortable with, and they know that that's going to provide a steady paycheck for them. Because if
Yeah.
you think about the accountant that's been the CPA that's been working for 20 something years, that's what they know. They're comfortable in that. And so it's scary to think I'm going to abandon what I know so that I can help other business owners, grow their business. That's not even my expertise. So why would I abandon what I know to help them do something that I'm not necessarily an expert at? So it is scary. It is, but the first step is to ask yourself, what am I scared of? Is it am I really wanting to hold on to the tax work, or which I think is actually the case, or am I just scared of losing that, being in my comfort zone and earning a base, even if it's not a great salary, earning a salary
Yeah.
for the unknown, abandoning it, all that for the unknown. Yeah,
And what do you
that's step
recommend
one.
during that transition period? So let's say, okay, the firm owner, Susie, we'll call her. I'm ready to abandon my compliance work. But Adam, I need to have this revenue until I replace it with something different. What is
Yeah.
it that you recommend during that transitional period where they are committed to getting rid of the current, what I'm used to process that you've been doing every single year, maybe for the last 20, 25, 30 years, or even just 1 year, and saying, no, I want steady revenue. I want higher value, higher paying clients. I have no idea how to get those clients, Adam. And by the way, I don't feel I'm really an expert at CFO accounting services or advisory services yet.
Yeah, absolutely. So the if you decided that yes, I would like to pursue being an advisor. I'm not sure what that means yet. I'm not even sure I'm qualified for it, but I would like to do something other than compliance work. I think the second thing to do, once you decide that this is something you want to do, the second thing is to not just completely abandon what you're doing now, because of course you do need the income coming in. But what we recommend is essentially up level each of your clients. So in other words, if you have a 100% book of business that's compliance based,
Yep.
then slowly over time, get that number down to 90% compliance based, 10% advisory work, and then get it from 90 to 80 and the 80 to 70. Eventually, over, let's say, a course of a year, you'll have maybe 20% compliance work and then 80% advisory work. And you're slowly but surely taking your existing compliance clients and replacing them with higher value advisory clients. And in our experience, an accountant or bookkeeper will do one of three things. The first thing they'll structure their firm in one of three ways. The first way is they'll enhance their existing compliance work. So they'll enhance their tax service or their bookkeeping service and make it better by adding on an advisory component. And that way they could differentiate themselves from all the other accountants out there or the other bookkeepers out there. Their
Mhm.
service is just better, a better bookkeeping or better tax service than everybody else. Uh, the second way that a lot of accountants in our program structure their firms is they will upsell. They'll have a program or an advisory service where they can upsell their their compliance, their tax, their bookkeeping clients to a CFO service. And then they'll delegate a lot of that compliance work to somebody on their team. And the CFO, the practice owner themselves will become the CFO for each of their clients. And then the third structure that we see a lot of practice owners do is they'll over time, they'll get rid of all of their compliance clients and just have a book of business that's advisory clients only. There's no right way, there's no wrong way. It's just whatever you prefer. So those people out there that are concerned about just abandoning what they're doing, that they've been doing for the past decade or so, you don't have to. Just we suggest you just slowly but surely up level each of those clients so that you're making more money per client and you're making a much higher effective hourly rate. Because
Right.
if I can say one more thing about the effective hourly rate, the average accountant salary in the United States is $73,000. We
Wow.
think I personally think that's pitiful for all the experience and time that an accountant has.
And the schooling, and for those that have a
Yes,
CPA, and to get your CPEs every year and keep your license intact, that's ridiculously low.
yes, absolutely. It's very low. And if you take into consideration the amount of hours you put in, your effective hourly rate is south of $40. I'm not sure what the exact number is, but it's low.
Yeah.
But if you can replace it with an advisory client, and we recommend that you charge a flat fee for advisory services. So the minimum that we think you should charge is $1,500 a month, the minimum. But of course, it depends on multiple factors. But let's just assume $1,500 a month. And then the average time it takes to spend on an advisory client is about 4 hours per month. That means your effective hourly rate is $625.
Wow.
That's dramatically different. So
Dramatically.
right. So you don't need that many clients in order to make good money. If you just had 10 advisory clients, it's at 1,500 a month, that's 15,000 a month that you're earning just from 10 clients. Well, 15,000 times 12 months is 180,000 just from 10 clients a year that you're earning. I
Yeah.
mean, there's yeah.
And I'm sure the firm owners listening yeah, Adam, that sounds great. But I don't know how to find those clients. I don't know how to, like there's all the things that are in the way. So
Yeah.
I know you've had a lot of success with clients at CFO Project. I know you've got a few that we're going to talk about, or just two specifically. But maybe we can go through and you can make up a name. But I think the biggest challenge for most firm owners, like you said, wh- they're scared. We're creatures of habit. Who wants to
Yeah.
really make a change when you've been doing something the same for so long until you get fed up with yourself? And once you get fed up with yourself and you can't take it anymore, or your relationship's on the rocks, you're angry, you're irate all the time with your family, your kids, then maybe you're going to make the change. But for those that might be listening and that are feeling stuck, feeling overwhelmed, I've been hearing about advisory at every conference I go to. This all sounds great. I have no idea how to do it. I understand the first step I need to take is, what do you want to keep? And then the second step is how you're going to up level the current clients you have, if any. And then, really figuring out the structure for your current firm as one of the three that you just said. What are some of the pitfalls that you saw your one or two clients that you're going to share today? Maybe we can walk through that, where they overcame it and got to the other side, where they are averaging $625 an hour, doing advisory of minimum $1,500 a month,
Mhm.
averaging about 4 hours per client per month. Because that all sounds great, but making that transition is daunting for a lot of
Yeah.
people that might be listening today.
Yeah. Um, Yeah, great question. And one of our members, his name's Sam. He's a CPA. He's been doing this for about 25 years. And all he has done is taxes. And every year he just dreaded tax season just because clients are waiting at the last minute to give him all the information he needs. And then he's spending 60 to 80-hour work weeks for a good percentage of the year. And it's just, he's not getting paid enough for it. And he was just miserable. It's just burnt out.
Mm-hmm.
And he knew he wanted to be transitioned to an advisory service. But the number one thing that held him back was the concept of imposter syndrome. That I'm not a business advisor. I'm not a CFO. I mean, I'm a tax accountant. What do I know about growing a business or advising? And I mean, that's not what I've been getting paid for. I don't have any formal training in this. I haven't been the CFO for a large company. And so the imposter syndrome, it's a very real thing. And I would argue if you don't have imposter syndrome, something's wrong. So if you do have imposter syndrome, that's a good thing. It means that you know that there's a lot that you don't know out there. So the way that Sam got over it with our help, he joined our program about two and a half years ago. And then last year, he finally sold all of his tax clients to somebody else. And this year, was his very first year without having to go through a tax season in almost 2.5 decades.
Wow.
But he's made more money in just the first 6 months of this year than he's ever had in a full year as a tax accountant. And I think the number one hurdle he got over was the imposter syndrome.
And how did he get over it? How did Sam get past his imposter syndrome?
Yeah, so a couple things. One, realizing that imposter syndrome, if you have it, is a good thing. In other words, it's there's studies that have been shown that doctors who are spent years specializing in one particular field feel like they are an imposter in that field as compared to first-year medical students. And these doctors that have the expertise in this field know way more than almost the 99.99% of the population, but yet they know that there's a lot that they don't know about that subject. And so their confidence level goes down. Whereas a first-year medical student who is being exposed to this training, their confidence level is high. And it's just why you also see a bunch of 22-year-olds on YouTube promoting life coaching services. And so the fact that you have imposter syndrome is actually a good thing in that you know that there's a lot that you don't know. But I guarantee you know a lot more than you think you do when it comes as compared to the average small business owner.
Mm-hmm.
Think about it. The average small business owner, let's say a roofing company owner, got into their business because they have an experience or expertise in the construction or roofing trades. A dentist started a dental practice because they're a dentist, not because they understand numbers or strategy or business. And so they need these small business owners, which, by the way, make up 99% of all businesses in the country. They need somebody to help them because they are skilled in one particular area. And it's almost always the area that their business is, the product or service of their businesses is in, not numbers or strategy or financials. So they need somebody in their lives that can guide them. What they don't necessarily need a high-level, complex CFO that can help them make multi-billion-dollar decisions, because that's just not what they need. They need somebody who understands the numbers that can just guide them towards having a growing and successful business. And so one of the part of the training we did with Sam was help him understand that even though you've never been a CFO, the clients that you're going after don't need that high-level CFO help anyways. It's overkill. But they do need something else. And what else, the thing that they need, guidance on having a successful business, you are certainly qualified to do. and here's how that you do it. And we train them on how to actually be a CFO, the actual steps to go through each month with a client. Once he understood a system to provide a CFO service, and once he got over that all important imposter syndrome hurdle, he was off to the races. He couldn't wait to sell his tax clients and start taking on clients.
Love it. That's awesome. Well, congrats to Sam. Kudos to you. Yeah. Are there any other pitfalls, Adam, that you see? Because I think the imposter syndrome, and I think that example was so beautifully explained, that you can share. So a firm owner listening right now doesn't feel so alone. This is what everyone goes through, even if they're brand new. They've never started their firm yet, or they're just starting and they want to quit their 9-to-5 job.
Yeah.
And they're ready to make a shift. What would you share with them as far as another pitfall or hurdle that you've seen a firm owner really be able to overcome?
Yeah, that's a great question. My answer is the exact reason why we started the CFO project in the first place. A lot of accountants and bookkeepers and enrolled agents and CPAs, they, like you said, they want to transition and they want to do something different. They want to have a bigger impact on their clients' lives. They want to make more money, have more of a work-life balance, get away from the compliance work, but they don't know how to do any of that. But at the same token, in order to do something, in order to learn how to do a certain skill, you could watch a course or you could read a book, but until you actually do it, it's not going to make sense.
Yeah.
So we could teach you all day long how to ride a bike by watching some videos on YouTube on how to ride a bike. It will conceptually make sense, but until you actually get off the couch and get on a bike and ride, it's not going to actually make sense.
Yep.
And so the reason why we started the CFO project is because we wanted to create something, a program that actually got results for accountants and bookkeepers. In other words, we didn't want to just put together a course and say, watch this course, and now you know the theory on how to start a CFO service. We actually want you to start a CFO service, but we're realist in that we know that you're busy, you're running your firm today. So we've created an environment where you get a little bit of training at a time, and then you get, more importantly, you get somebody, we call it a CFO roundtable, but it's a weekly mastermind that meets for an hour, led by a trainer who will help you put together a specific plan of what to do every single week in order to stay on track to successfully transition your firm to where you want it to be. Mm-hmm. And so that after a period of time, usually it takes about 6 months for our members to get 3 clients. And that's the magic number in our view. Get 3 CFO clients, charge at least $1,500 a month. That means you're making $54,000 a year just from those 3 clients. Now that you've done it 3 times, you can scale that dramatically. And whether you want to keep all your bookkeeping and tax clients or get rid of them all, you now have options. But the most important thing is you actually got 3 clients in 6 months, and you've succeeded. You've done something, which is more than what most people can say. And so we want you to actually get results. And so it's taking action, and taking action doesn't happen in a vacuum. It happens in a form of community and accountability, and that's exactly why we structured our program the way we did.
Love it. Love it. And when you see that the average is that your new students get 3 clients within a 6-month span, and they get that confidence, and now they are not just thinking about riding the bike, but they're on their bike, and now they have that confidence to scale. Do you see that, Adam, from brand new firm owners who are just starting out, in addition to the ones that were maybe the firm that's been in business 25 years, 30 years, and now they want to make a change?
Yeah, it really varies across the board. We've had people that start brand new, doesn't have a client, and they'll get, I could think of one particular member of our program. He didn't have any clients. He was a full-time accountant, W-2 paid accountant. And he started our program. And within 6 months, he completely replaced his salary and is now making double than what his salary was without any clients. And I think there's a lot of upside to somebody that doesn't have an existing client base because they're not burdened with the tax and compliance. They're not burdened with tax and compliance clients already. And so they can start out fresh with taking on advisory clients. That's what I did when I started 8 years ago. I didn't have any clients because I had previously sold my business. I used to be an accountant, and then I started a business and sold that business and realized that I took for granted the fact that I understood my numbers.
Yeah.
Because I started working with other business owners, and that morphed into a CFO service because I was focused on the advisory first, which is what they want. The business owners want their financial person in their lives to be their advisor. Mm-hmm. They'd rather, if a business owner didn't have to look at a tax return or a set of books ever again, they'd be happy. They want you to advise them. So that's what I did. And that's what several people do. But if you have an existing book of business, you also have something that is very valuable. You have trusted, loyal clients that will do whatever you say. And that is huge. If you have, let's say, 30 bookkeeping clients or 100 tax clients, and if you call any one of them up and say, hey, Bob, I was looking over your tax return and I saw a couple of red flags and a few opportunities that I see for growth in order to have a growing and successful business. Can we hop on a call to discuss this? I guarantee you, Bob will reply back within minutes. Exactly, because Bob trusts you. Bob trusts his accountant, and if his accountant's saying, "Let's hop on a call so I can review these red flags and opportunities for growth," of course, Bob's going to do it. Who would say no to that? Because they trust you. And if you have that type of conversation with a client, it'll be no time before Bob becomes an actual CFO client of yours. And if you have that conversation enough time, you'll be able to replace all of your tax and accounting, bookkeeping clients with advisory clients.
Yeah. And I think it stems back to, like you said, the first step, which is ask yourself, what do you want to hold on to in your firm? And if you don't have clients, what do you want to create?
Right.
Do you want to create the high volume compliance and get inside the trap? Or are you trying to escape the accounting trap like you had shared? So thank you, Adam, so much for sharing. Is there anything else that you think would be a next valuable step or something we hadn't mentioned that you really want to share to help a firm owner escape the trap so they can remove themselves from the grind, remove themselves from the headaches, the resentment that they have for their clients, so they can enjoy their life and not be paid like the average accountant just getting $73,000 a year, probably take home pay, and double and triple that, to be paid like a doctor, to be paid like that neurosurgeon. Is there anything else, Adam, that you'd like to share today that maybe we didn't touch on yet?
Yeah. Thank you for the question. I would say that if you are on the fence about starting an advisory service or transitioning, I want you to know that most business owners are craving this type of service. They don't just want it; they crave it. If a like we talked about in the last example, if a business owner was approached by a financial professional that they trusted, mm-hmm. they're going to listen to what they have to say because they trust. Most business owners trust their financial professional. They want their financial professional in their lives to guide them on having a growing, successful business. And so there's a giant market for these services. But the problem is, and I know I'm speaking to the choir because you deal with this every day. Business owners don't know what a CFO service is, and they don't think that their business even needs one. They think, oh, Coca-Cola needs a CFO or Amazon needs a CFO. My $6 million construction company doesn't. Because they don't understand. But once they do understand, once you have a relationship with the business owner, a trusted relationship, and you were able to explain what you do, they will raise their hand and they will pay whatever you command. So there's a giant need for this service out there, and business owners need you. And imagine the impact you'll have on your clients' lives if you can go from being the recorder of the past to being somebody that can help them have a successful future. Because, I mean, if you think about it, there are a lot of 50% of all businesses fail before they reach their 5th birthday, according to the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics. Half.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Every single one of those
doesn't have a CFO, part-time CFO, nothing.
Yeah, but what's worse, they all had accountants.
Yeah, just doing all the historical stuff.
Exactly.
And not looking at the forward picture and not helping them stay in business versus let them fail. Right.
Business owners would rather you spend your time helping them have a successful business than just simply recording the past and not caring whether or not they make it or not next year. It's like being the accountant on the Titanic. Like, who cares? The Titanic sinking and the accountant's thinking, well, I did my job. I recorded the books. I closed the taxes. I did my job. And the captain of the Titanic's thinking, I don't care. I just need help figuring out how to not make my ship sink. And if you could do that, if you could be the person not make your client's ship sink, they will pay you whatever you want.
Love it. Yeah. No, I think that's brilliant and a lovely way to wrap up today, Adam. So thank you so much for being here. So if a firm owner doesn't want to let all of their business clients fail and turn into the Titanic, but they're completely clueless on the CFO services business advisory and they have imposter syndrome, how do they get your help?
Yeah. So if you go to the CFOproject.com, THECFOproject.com, and at the very top, there's a link that says free training. Every Thursday, Jeff, my co-founder, and I do a training called How to Start a CFO Service. So for an hour, we'll walk you through this step-by-step on needed to start a CFO service. So just go to the CFOproject.com and then click free training on that page.
Awesome. Well, Adam, thank you so much for being here with us today on The Abundant Accountant. It was an honor to have you and looking forward to maybe having you back again in the future. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much for the invite.
Thank you all so much for joining us here on the Abundant Accountant podcast. It's always an honor and a pleasure to have each of you listening and think about, how do you want to serve your clients this year? How do you want to do things differently so they don't end up like the Titanic? I love that analogy that Adam shared towards the end, and that when we allow imposter syndrome to get in the way, or we allow our fears and our doubts to stop us from moving forward, we are doing a disservice to our clients. And they might end up like the 50% of businesses that fail in the first 5 years. We don't want our clients to end up like the Titanic. So keep that food for thought. And if you are a really smart, hardworking tax, bookkeeping, or accounting firm owner, and you want to change the way things have been going so you can work with clients who pay you premium fees and also be able to ethically double or even triple your fees in your firm by using a much newer and far simpler method that I've created here at The Abundant Accountant, then make sure to go to theabundantcall.com and book your call with me and my team so we can dive in to see how you can get paid first and upfront, double your firm revenue while working less, having total financial security and more disposable cash, and really gaining the freedom that you've always wanted in your firm. So if you're ready to make that change and start creating the firm of your dreams, be it with advisory services, CFO services, whatever advisory services you choose, head on over to theabundantcall.com to get started. And we look forward to speaking with you soon.